All right, we're here with Steven. Steven, tell us about yourself.
I'm Steven from Dark Arts Precision, LLC. This is a 6BRA. It's a Burger 109 running a Vitavori N150. Pushing the 109 at about, I don't know, 20, 28, 15. CBR barrel. You see a Night Forest 7 to 35 8-tacker, spur mounts. Trying out the Bat Hammerhead. Really much enjoying that. It's a really nice action. Yeah, so hopefully today, it's a beautiful day. I think we got lucky with the weather. I'm hoping to, do fair today. So,
Is there anything that intimidates you about this match?
this is one of the matches that, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's one of them that if you miss, you're no longer competitive, So,
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun, but yeah, it's to be competitive, you can't miss.
All right, we're here with Aaron. Aaron, tell us a little bit about yourself and the match and your rifle.
So I'm Aaron. I'm from Pine City, Minnesota. I'm shooting a 6 GT today out at West Branch. It's a good little match. I enjoy shooting here. A lot of cool people to shoot with, and I enjoy it here because of the props and the people.
All right, is there anything that intimidates you about this match going into it?
Yeah, probably shooting out of the bus and shooting a new rifle.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Brand new rifle?
Brand new rifle.
How many
man.
rounds you got on the barrel?
About 30.
That's
About
pretty
30.
new.
So we're
That's pretty fresh.
we're probably gonna speed up today. So.
Right on. Any concerns about the wind today?
Yeah, it's going to be windy out here today, and shooting a new caliber, shooting a 6 GT, so going from a 6.5 Creedmoor is going to be interesting.
All right, we'll check in with you after the match.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, everybody, we're here with Jordan. Jordan, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you have going on YouTube.
My name is Jordan Beckman, born in Minnesota. I'm shooting American Rifle Xylo chassis, Archimedes action from American Rifle Company, 6BR, Brux barrel, Razor Gen 3. Got a YouTube channel, Midpack Shooters. Do a little YouTube here and there. I guess I'd say biggest thing I'm concerned about with the match today is going to be this first stage jitters.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And so wind. Is wind a concern for you today? It's supposed to be pretty windy.
Not today. It's I believe it's going to be coming out at 10, 11 o'clock, so it's going to be sheltered. So we're not going to get too much wind. We'll probably see maybe 5 miles an hour. So
Okay.
Should be fairly decent.
All right, I hope you're right.
Yep.
Well, going into the match, I was fairly optimistic that I would do okay. Typically, I think the proper range to put me at, since I only shoot a few matches a year, a couple matches a year, I'm usually mid-pack. I think that's a fair estimate to where I line up. Sometimes I've done a little better in NRL 22, but center fire matches I do so few that like mid-pack is just fine with me, especially if you're shooting against pro shooters. Yeah, people who are doing 20, 30 matches a year, I mean, that's crazy. I'm doing a couple ever. And so mid-pack was just fine for me for my estimate. A couple things that were detractors for me. I just done an ELR trip with a bunch of Discovery optics. You guys have probably seen those videos. If you haven't yet, taken optics like this, the 6 to 36 past a mile, past 2,000 yards. That was where I burnt up a lot of 6.5 ammo. And I just am not one of these guys who's rich and has lots of money to throw at these things. So what I was left with were a whole bunch of Freedom Munitions 140 grain. These are fine for plinking. They're really not that bad, or hitting varmints with them at even a couple 100 yards. They're just fine. And as I tested these, they weren't super reliable for SDs. They were good enough though. And that's one thing I have to be very honest about is I think at this match, all of the targets, maybe almost every single target was probably not sub-MOA. They were probably MOA or bigger. They weren't huge targets, but they weren't tiny either. There's a lot of 2 MOA targets out there on the field, and it's possible that on one of the KYL racks that one of those was sub-MOA. It could have been very, very small. But anyways, I thought that this ammo would at least be acceptable for that. Now, the Hornady 147 grain shoots like half MOA out of this rifle, sometimes better if I do my part. Thank you to Savage for sending out this Savage 110 Elite Precision. It shoots very, very well, and I'm happy with it. Throwing on the Anarchy Outdoors bolt handle and bolt knob, it's some of my favorite additions to the rifle. But ammo is one of the components that you just can't sacrifice on in the match. So I was a little bit bummed that I was gonna find out I was shooting this match last second, and then I was gonna run into it with suboptimal ammunition. but I wanted to have fun, and I haven't got to shoot a match all year. It's actually probably been 12 months since I've shot a centerfire match. So I was just really stoked to get out there and shoot, see a few friends I haven't seen in a long time. And you know what? Going into it, that prediction probably would have been fair if I was a little more practice up, probably with some better ammo, then I think I would have wound up mid-pack. The truth is, I did not end up mid-pack. I was probably bottom third in this match, so that's a huge bummer for me. But it wasn't the fault of the rifle. It definitely wasn't the fault of the optic. I will talk about the Discovery real quick. As far as the Discovery goes, I didn't have a single issue. There was nothing, there was no flop. I didn't feel like I was lacking tracking. And I've got a million rounds with Discovery optics, especially the 525s. I don't think this missed a beat the whole time. I actually kind of liked using it. I dig the reticle. It's a good reticle. The tracking and the trueness of that is something I've already put to the test, so I feel like my internal confidence, meter was still pretty high. Like if I dial 1.3, that's what I'm getting out of this. The ammunition though, I did notice a few rounds that just seemed to me like that seemed like a little bit slow. I kind of knew what the ES looked like going into this, and I was worried about that I was going to have some flyer rounds and try to make predictions based off flyers. I might have had a little bit of that going on from time to time where I had a good steady position and suddenly one would be quite low. I was only shooting at about 500 yards when I noticed that. So this wasn't a very far range. This is relatively close compared to some of the other matches you've seen. But I just thought, what a bummer with the ammo. The optic, though, did exactly what I thought it should. The bubble level did what it should. It's not the fastest response bubble level. It does take a second to settle. And so that's one thing. I just needed to position my rifle and check it out each time, because I did notice every once in a while, if I took a shot really quickly, I needed to wait for that bubble level to restabilize. But this is the multi-size bubble level that you can throw on your optics from Discovery. It'll do 25.4 or 1 inchers, 30 millimeter, and 34 millimeter. So I ran that as well. I ran a Norma Match dope or data card on the side, which was excellent. I thought it was going to rain, so I did some tape. That worked really good on this optic. The optic is nice and heavy, so balance point shouldn't have been much of a problem at all for me. If you can tell, the balance point is about where I put my bag most of the time. But the optic was not a weak point in any sort of way. I basically lived on 13 to 15 power for the majority of it. The one exception to that was shooting the KYL. There was a small target, and I decided to bump it up to 21 power on the small target. And I'm glad that I did. Normally, I could have just shot that on 15 power, but 4 points when I'm on the clock, I decided to take a little bit of extra time I could tell I had. I bumped it up to 21, and I made sure I had a good clean trigger press on that. And I actually scored relatively well on that stage. Out of all the stages, the one with small targets, really small targets, I seemed to do okay with that. But of course, it was in the prone, and it's probably expected to do a little better for a guy who does a lot of prone shooting. So that was kind of my match breakdown. One thing I would go back and do for sure if I knew I was going to go into this, aside from practicing more, which is what everybody's going to say in the follow-up, practice, practice, practice. That's always good to know. But I probably would have changed out my bag. One of the local pros was just mentioning to me that using an ultra light fill bag, although that's great for NRL hunter or when you're actually hunting and you're walking around, you don't want to carry a heavy bag, it's not the steadiest on positions like the tank trap, or I was shooting out of a bus with windows, and this one just rocked a little bit too much. And he pointed it out. He said, you're a little jittery, you're a little shaky on that. And I think he's right. I think I probably need to go with a heavier bag. So that was some good wisdom from a seasoned shooter that I'm going to take seriously and think about some more. I've used heavier bags, but I think I might go back to one specifically for matches. As far as the optic goes, and the rest of the setup, I would still shoot the rest of this just fine. Better ammo and a different bag is probably the component that I could change. And then as far as what I bring to the table, definitely practice. A lot more practice. I enjoyed it. Thank you to Discovery for sending me out to this match. They gave away multiple optics and rings. They did some really cool stuff at this match. And so if you're inside the US and you're getting into matches right now, Discovery Optics will have something on the table from time to time at your local matches, and I think they're really worthwhile. Try one out, especially if you get a chance at a 5 to 25. I think it's an excellent production class or base class optic. I don't think this held me back at all. I really don't think it held me back. I have some $2,000 and $3,000 optics if I'm going to run something open class, and I think those are fun too. But I enjoyed shooting production class. I enjoyed getting my butt handed to me for some sick reason. I think I just was humbled really heavily in this match, which is great. And I'll come back and shoot much, much better, much more prepared in matches to come because of it. And yeah, I just want to say thank you to Discovery, Savage, and Anarchy Outdoors for sending stuff out to the channel. I do plan on having at least one more match this year if I can get enough ammo. All right, so now we're post-match. How did you do, and what would you do different next time?
I did maybe middle of the road. A few rough stages, you know, the usual. Just like anything else, practice, practice, practice. You know, if I get any kind of practice, whether it's dry firing or getting to the range, I would definitely help, because every mistake I made was not the gun, it was me. So.
All right, back with Aaron. So Aaron, how did the match go?
It was a good match. I didn't shoot the greatest, but shooting that new rifle today was tricky with the wind and figuring out wind calls with the new rifle. But overall, it was a fun match. Love shooting out here at West Branch. Great place to shoot.
Awesome. What'd you think of your rifle's balance and performance and all that? It's pretty well set up still?
Man, it was awesome, dude. The new MDT Elite chassis that I finally got my hands on that I've wanted for a while just outperformed me by far. Loving it. Shooting a new Brux barrel, 6 GT, which is new to me, but loving it, yeah.
Awesome. And you're going to be shooting some MDT stuff in hunter matches, right?
Absolutely, yep, yeah. So this year I actually ran ACC Gen 2 for most of the year and loving it.
If you guys want to see more on Aaron and some of his content, is there a place people can go to find more content? You've been producing some MDT stuff lately?
Not really videos or anything like that, but just my Facebook page, really, to be honest with you. Just, yeah, Aaron Garby's Facebook page. Check me out there. Just a lot of shooting content, stuff like that. Hopefully some videos and YouTube stuff to come in the future. So.
All right, that's all I have for you today, guys. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe, and maybe watch some of these other videos taking Discovery optics to ELR distances, other matches, and that sort of thing. Watch some of these if this one interested you.